Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the curious note that was written by Dalia Dippolito. My name is Marcel Elvers, Master Profiler through written communication using handwriting analysis, statement analysis, and behavioral trend analysis. Please like my channel, above all share and subscribe, and don't forget to put some videos on your playlist. Dalia Dippolito was a former escort who married her client, Michael Dippolito, after just a few weeks. She convinced Michael, who was a Ponzi scheme felon himself, to put all his properties under her name. He was motivated for tax evasion purposes. This is the note Dalia left on the fridge the day she was arrested. Remember, look at handwriting as a behavior as we move from left to right while going up and down. Many good comments were made on the YouTube channel, and I'm really pleased with that. Thank you. First of all, let's have a look at the personal pronoun I, or the PPI, and the capitals. They are a good size, and that means that the person presents him or herself with confidence. However, when you look at the smaller d in her personal name, Dalia, the confidence level suggests otherwise. She may not feel worthy. Of course, this was a sticky note. We see that the lines are a little bit cramping up as far as the line spacing is concerned at the bottom. So it is possible that she just ran out of space. However, she did have enough room to make a larger size D. The mid-zone I is the letter that represents yourself in social settings. So this is a very strong, large mid-zone I. And that means she's comfortable in social settings. Compare that to, for instance, the note that Anthony Weiner left on his neighbor's door after he was caught sexting with I believe it was a minor or a young woman. Now, when you look at the mid-zone I in neighbors, you see it is puny. And Anthony Weiner, just being caught with all the press outside his door, could crawl under a rock. The backward slant of the PPI shows Dalia is distancing herself from the statement, I've ever been, happiest I've ever been. Note also that the PPI is missing in love you. This can be an habitual thing when you say it often. However, it does suggest not owning the statement. We never fear far away from our reality. And so when somebody says, in this case, completely unreal, that might be a fleeting thought of her own reality, which is then expressed as in, I can't believe how lucky I am. So completely unreal is potentially ambiguous. Here is a really interesting thing, and this is called a left margin violation. You see that the PPI moved further to the left. And what happens here is the person is writing the happiest, moves from left to right, and then she has an intrusive thought while her hand is moving from the right of the page towards the left. And she moves a little further than usual to the left because of the intrusive thought. The question is, what was she distracted by? We see the same principle happening in the extra spacing in between my and dream. There is an intrusive thought. During completely unreal my, intrusive thought happens, and the writing hand continued to move a little bit more forward than usual. Intrusive thoughts tend to be red flags for deception. We also see significant pressure variation. Pressure variations means that the individual who's writing does not control their energy output very well. And you can see that the PP in happiest are really heavy, whereas the A is light. We can see that the L in unreal is heavy, while the E is almost disappearing, especially on the top. You see a break. We see the same break in the M of dream. And that suggests poor impulse control, a person who is easily emotionally aroused, an author that can be labile. In really extreme cases where pressure variation is excessive, and especially when they try to write their name, or and there's disintegration right there, that suggests that the person is completely incoherent, and psychosis or loss with reality is a potential. This is Phil Spector, by the way. Another thing that's interesting is that when we look at the word been, it's a four-letter word as compared to the word ever, also a four-letter word, that the word ever cramped up. And that suggests anxiety, an increase in anxiety. The letters are closer together and written a little smaller. Another thing that is really interesting is that the slant of most letters that I highlighted here, and the lines are copied and pasted, is virtually the same. And this is basically a vertical slant. Now, then we look at some other words, like the second stem of the U, the L, and the second stem of the N. We see a sudden leap forward. And these people tend to emotionally react. We already saw that there is some emotional arousal, poor control, poor impulse control, and this just adds to poor impulse control. Now the person is also reacting to it. Interestingly, I've ever been the backward slant. I already said that is distancing, but we see also that happening in the F4 of forever. And these are red flags, especially in combination what we've already noticed. Somebody mentioned the use of capitals. The unexpected capitals, there should not be a capital in happiest or completely or forever, suggests somebody that is authority defiant. They make up their own rules. But we also see the opposite happening within the mid-zone. The bodies of the P's and the G in guy completely cramp up. And that suggests insecurity. That suggests unsure about the statement being made. And that is in line with the other writing characteristics. Some people made comments on the heart, and yes, the double-sided arrows are certainly ambiguous. The direction that James Andolini mentioned should be from left to higher right, and yes, that should be that way. Symbolically speaking, moving up, left, down, up, right means enthusiasm. The disconnected, not going through the heart, also suggests immaturity and or deception, not being true. That is, this is a true loving relationship, like Brick mentioned, conflict in the relationship. So the art of the con is making your mark believe they are in the driver's seat. And that's a quote from the series The Mentalist, worth watching. The con, the Ponzi con, Michael, was conned by Dalia, and the con Dalia was conned by an undercover cop. You see, Dalia Dippolito was caught on video hiring an assassin to murder her husband. And special mention for Tatiana Lilith Benetti, wonderful name. Look what she said. She said she wants to express the opposite of what was written, and ambiguity is certainly there. The fact she insists in order to convince is a problem to her, and she had the feeling that she was going to kill her husband. This is extremely close and actually true of what really happened. Dalia Dippolito was convicted. There was a retrial, and I believe it was in 2016. After the second retrial, the judge declared, I believe it was a second mistrial. I don't know where she is today, but it is an interesting story. And the note revealed quite a bit, quite frankly, and you guys have been very astute in your comments.